Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the JLJ podcast. It's your boy, Jack Wimmery. I'm here, my man, JVK.
How's it going, guys?
Also here with Matho.
G'day.
And today, it's Corporate Week, like we told you last week, and it's a very big episode today. We've got our mid-season All-Australians for you guys, and a bonus at the end. We're going through our top 5 teams with the best young players. So, very big episode, very excited. We're all wearing our shirt and ties.
That's it. And
Absolutely.
Shout out to Jacko Bound for giving us the idea of the top 5 youth systems in the AFL. Very good shout, and I think it'll be definitely a good conversation. So
Definitely.
Let's get to it.
Let's get into our All-Australians. We'll see Matho with our near misses to start off with.
Near misses. So let's walk through them here.
A lot of talking points.
VK, Matt Taberner, not
Matty Taberner. Get around here.
I don't know about
He nearly made it into my team. That's why it's a near miss, obviously. Had the same goals as Charlie
Really?
Dixon. No, hear me out. Same goals as Charlie Dixon this year, right? And he's the second best in contested marks in the AFL in a rising Fremantle side. They're playing better now. I think he's had a great year and just misses out to Charlie Dixon in that full forward in the forward line position for me.
There you go.
Definitely an interesting
It's very, very interesting pick that he's in there, considering some of the other misses that you have in the side. But, we'll move past it.
You will.
Jacko, Braden Maynard not been in the side.
No, I think he, as we sort of talked about him a lot during the couple starting episodes of the podcast, he was really good. But I guess his form's dropped down as with Collingwood's form, really. So, he's a miss for me. And unfortunately, same with Charlie Cameron. I would have had him a lock at the start of the year. But he's been quite poor probably the last month. It's a bit disappointing.
Yeah. To be completely honest with you, I haven't got Charlie Cameron in my side, and I don't think VK does either.
Exactly. That's why I see my near misses.
There you go. Dustin Martin is probably a talking point in my near misses.
Honestly, I totally agree.
Honestly, I think that his start of the season wasn't amazing. So that doesn't warrant a selection for me. Definitely, he's been elite in the past few weeks, but yeah.
Well, I think he still finishes top 5 in the Brownlow this year.
Yeah, I agree.
That's why he's in my team later on.
There you go.
VK with the only Aston player that will probably make a feature. Jordan Ridley, interesting choice.
We'll see about the rest of the team, Jacko. But Jordan Ridley, as a near miss, he's been outstanding. He's been very stiff that a lot of the key defenders have been so good this year, such as Darcy Moore and Harris Andrews. I think next year I'm predicting him already to be in the All-Australian side for next year's season, as long as he doesn't get injured, obviously. And he's been so good in a troubling Essendon side this year, with our backline being pretty much the only... our midfield's been inconsistent, but backline's been consistently good this year. He's run it. And he's actually running at the second most kicking efficiency in the AFL this year, with 88% with playing nearly all the games, which is very impressive for a guy who gets close to 15 touches per game. So, yeah, he's very close for me.
So would you say he's the third best key defender in the league currently?
He's not really a key. What do you explain to be a key defender?
Well, you say that he's stiff that Harris Andrews and Darcy Moore made it over him.
Yeah, I'd have him in after those two, yeah.
So you think he's had a better year than Jacob Wiedering, a better year than Robbie Barron, better year than Jeremy McGovern?
I do. Oh, McGovern's been injured too much. If McGovern wasn't injured, he'd be my first pick straight away. The way he's played the last few weeks has been incredible, especially last game. But, yeah, Ridley would be my next pick.
Yeah, it's fair enough. Ambitious call, but we love the ambitiousness at
Matty Taberner.
Matty Taberner, Darcy Parish. Charlie Cameron, ambitious pick.
Darcy Parish? Who's got him in there? You said Darcy Parish.
I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Oh, did I? Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to say Darcy Parish.
It was close.
Are we going on to the fullbacks?
We
I
are.
reckon. All right, so the full back line, very, very similar. Me and Jacker have the exact same back line with Shepherd, Harris Andrews, and Haynes, who, it's pretty easy picks with those three, really. And then Matho with the only one with Maynard. Matho, what does Maynard make your team?
Like we were talking at the start of the season, I think with Collingwood's injuries as well, he's stood up for him a lot this season. At the start of the year when Jeremy Howe was playing as well, he was playing even better football. Honestly, I think he slides in there comfortably. Nick Haynes is still in my side, I'll tell you that, but he's just not my starting back pocket. I have to have Braden Maynard there.
It's definitely fair enough. I think Harris Andrews was always going to be everyone's fullback, and same with Shepherd, who's had a great year and another year for West Coast going under the radar.
I think he's the best small defender in the competition. In terms of defending wise, there might be some other people who get more touches or kick it better, but him in a one-on-one contest, can lock down the Charlie Camerons, the Tom Papleys of the competition.
Definitely agree with that. So move on to the half-back line, Jacko.
Yeah, so a couple of real different picks in here. Of course, everyone's got Darcy Moore in there, no surprise right there. But Luke Ryan also makes an appearance twice to me in VK. But I think our most ambitious pick is coming from VK once again with Caleb Daniel on the half.
I reckon Doherty's so much more ambitious than
Doherty is also. We haven't got to him. We'll talk about Daniel first, then we can get to Sam Doherty.
I think Daniel's been absolutely class. Doesn't get enough recognition for what he does. The thing that I like Daniel the most, maybe he doesn't have the stats like a lot of other players, but his decision making is one of the best in the AFL. He doesn't miss a target coming out of that half-back line. And he's maybe not the best defender, but a lot of the defenders these days, the half-backmen, aren't great defenders. They're just good rebound players, and I think he slots in there for me at half-back. The best field kick in the competition for me.
Yeah, it's true. As I did say a couple weeks ago, he does only kick the ball 30 metres every time to a man who's not on anyone. So it's pretty easy to get your kicks like that. But,
I reckon he makes the hard decisions to go through the middle and hit the target every time. That some players just bomb it and take the easy route.
True. I guess you can say that's right. But then again, doesn't get those metres gained. He will never kick the ball more than 50 metres. But, as I said, I don't think he's a very good defender in terms of his defensive-wise, They showed vision on the access all areas when Brisbane versed Caleb Daniel. You can see him just leaving Hugh McCluggage by himself for pretty much the whole game. And he ended up kicking 2 goals or whatever and, having a big impact. But, I guess moving on to Matho's ambitious pick of Sam Doherty. You predicted him at the start of the year and you've got him soon.
I picked him at the start of the year and I'm sticking by the decision. I think his efforts in the back line for Carlton have been enormous. Definitely goes underrated. He's averaging just under 20 touches a game at 76% for a half back, averaging 5.9 rebound 50s, which is almost double of what Caleb Daniels is. Just that's for you VK.
Mm-hmm.
And for a defender, he's got 3.1 score involvements. So I think pushing forward and being that loose man that's over the back of the contest, I think he's huge and he's been a massive inclusion coming back into Carlton's side. There might be a bit of bias from it, but he's definitely in a few more of the other All-Australian teams that I was looking at over the course of the week planning for this.
It's fair enough. I think it is an interesting call. I would have had him near the start of the year, but once again, his recent form has been quite poor, which made me end up bringing Jake Lloyd, which no one else has.
See, can we talk about Jake Lloyd? I think that's a very, very ambitious pick. Me and VK don't even have him in our near misses.
Yeah, we don't have Doherty or Caleb Daniel and near misses either, do we? So
yeah, exactly. That's why we discussed them.
This is where we
discussed Jake Lloyd.
I think Jake Lloyd, I think he's top 5 in the competition for disposals. Constantly gets 25 to 30 every week off that half back line. He's only Sydney's, player who can rebound out of there, especially now that Dame Rampy's been injured, and they've got players down there like Leah who struggles.
Oi.
Sorry for that, Horsey.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I broke my heart for horse. You can't say stuff like that.
Horsey, if you're still listening, comment Leah. We'll have to
no chance. It's been a minute and he's off. He's off.
You see Leah's one of the near misses that he's off. But I think Jake Lloyd was a good pick.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Well, I think Sam Doherty was a good pick.
That's definitely fair enough.
I think Caleb Daniel was a good pick.
VK, the midfield.
So midfield. So there's the majority of these players will probably be in everyone's teams. The midfield each year is just spread out depending on which position it could be. A lot of midfielders at the half forward line or on ball. But the one that stands out here is Hugh McCloggage. You can't say his last name, but for me, the best actual winger in the competition.
Mhm.
And I think he definitely deserves a spot in the great Brisbane season again. He just continues to improve. That three, him, Taranto, and McGrath, are going to be some absolute superstars, to some of the best, probably 3 out of the 5 to 10 best players in the competition the next few years. And I think he deserves the slot. Jacko Meningola, what are your thoughts on his season?
Yeah, well, once again, I think the good thing here that we've all gone for one midfielder and one winger in terms of on our wings. So, of course, Meningola's a winger, McCluggage is a winner, and Andrew Gaff is a winger. So I thought that was really good for us, considering that the AFL will just put Marcus Bontempelli out there and, Dustin Martin or something like that. Of course, I've got Martin, but,
Yeah, what happened there?
Yeah, but Meningola's been a really good player for Geelong, probably one of the most underrated players in the competition. I always thought he was no good coming into this year, but he's proved me wrong, constantly getting 25 touches or so, kicking a goal or two each week, and really stood up when Joel Selwood was out, Mitch Duncan was out for a little bit. Really stood up for me, and that's why he's made it into my wing.
Definitely. McRae, Matho, both of us have got him in there. He's had an outstanding year, hasn't he?
I reckon he's one of the most underrated AFL players.
That's what I said at the start of the year.
Yeah, he's
number one.
I think is that underrated, and everyone says that he's underrated, so it's almost making him rated now.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
That was a lot of rateds, but I think definitely he averages a lot of touches and uses them well. I think this season, especially in the last few weeks, he's stood up for Western Bulldogs.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of goals, I believe. So it's good to see him going forward.
Exactly. Absolutely. I think that's the one thing you just have to add to his game is his more goal kicking. He's only kicked, I think, 3 or 4 goals this year. So if he can do, bring that up to, 10, 15 a season in terms of a player who can really push for that Brownlow.
That's the difference between an elite midfielder and a great midfielder for me, is the ability to kick goals. And if he can add that, then he's going to be up there with the best. And obviously me having Boak, not Gray, and you two having Billings, that's pretty safe options. They were always going to be in the
Billings.
team.
Billings.
Oh, I've lost the plot, lads. I've lost the plot. Gray and Billings are in the team. They're in the team.
Gray and Billings. Great players.
I've lost the plot.
Huge.
But
they've had big years, haven't they?
They have. Steele and Boak, though, they were always going to be in there.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Of course, Jack Steele probably wouldn't be in anyone's team at the start of the year.
No, definitely not.
Definitely one of the most biggest improvers from the start to the end.
100%.
One's a half forward, Jacko.
Mm-hmm. Here we go. Half forward line looking quite similar in a lot of spots. Of course, me and VK both got Petrarca. Of course, Matho's Travis Boker's gone forward. Not sure if he's ever going to play there, but we'll keep him like that. Of course, Tom Papley there.
He definitely goes forward for a bit of rotation.
Yeah, a little bit. We'll accept it. Tom Papley there as well. Who
midfielder? Petrarca's been playing midfield.
So those two go forward more than Travis Boak does.
Obviously, you don't watch Port Adelaide games then.
No, I do. They do, though. They just do. But I think an interesting talking point out of this one is, does Papley end up staying in for the rest of the year? Been really bad form, of course, kicking only 3 goals in the last 4 weeks. Does he end up staying there for the rest of the year?
No. I don't reckon.
Unless Sydney can get a few wins and he returns to good form. He relies on a good midfield, unfortunately. And with Sydney's outs and injuries and whatnot, I think he's struggling big time now.
Exactly. And you can see the frustration with him. Remember throwing that ball at Luke Ryan last week. Just getting frustrated. I did say a couple of weeks ago, he's not as good as everyone hypes him up to be. Once again, I'm correct with that.
Here we go.
No, he's still top 5 in the Brownlow, Jacko.
In the Brownlow?
The Coleman.
He's had a big year for the vote.
For the Coleman. He's top 5 for the Coleman still.
I don't know about that. I don't reckon he's going to make top 5 for Coleman.
He's still there, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I thought he meant he's going to finish third. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. That moving to full forwards.
Jesus. We have lost the plot this episode, haven't we?
Yeah, we have lost the plot.
Full forward. So it's once again, a very similar forward line with the JLJ's own Dan the Man Butler sitting in the forward pocket nicely. We've all got Dan. He arguably one of the best small forwards in the game. I think he's coming third or something in the Coleman now, which is definitely a big effort for him. Josh Kennedy, Vika, I know you want to talk about Josh Kennedy.
Absolutely. All-Australian pick. It was a bit of an outside chance, actually. Obviously, Kennedy's a great forward, but maybe he wasn't in that same form as he has been for the rest of his career. But he's proved everyone wrong and proved me right. And he's in that full forward spot, and it's good to see. He's just a dominant force, Kennedy, year by year. One of the most consistent players that I've watched throughout my life.
There you go. And Charlie Dixon is at my centre-half forward, so I don't think that he's not in my side. I've just put Tomahawk down there next to Josh Kennedy.
You refuse to put him on a line to make it look right. You refuse to have him looking perfect.
It's a point of difference.
I think the big one, with the Hawkins and Kennedy is that, both of them didn't have a great start to the year, but now really pushing, both of them kicking probably 15 goals in the last 4 or 5 rounds.
I think Tom Hawkins' game against Port Adelaide really put him back into contention of one of the best full forwards in the game, or key forwards in the game, because a 6-goal haul against the top side is definitely not something that is easy to do.
Yeah.
But I think he stays there if he can keep this form up that he's got right now.
Definitely. Move on to what our
followers.
So
once again, very, very similar. Everyone's got big Nick Nat. I think one of the biggest things is now, I think Brodie Grundy, Max Gawn, and Brodie Grundy and Max Gawn, I don't think they're in anyone's sides.
Probably not.
They've had nowhere near as good of a season as what the two Nick Nat and Todd Goldstein have had. And he definitely, playing for West Coast, I think Nick Nat does fly under the radar a little bit. But yeah.
He just hits hitouts to advantage with me with Nick Natanui. It's just, some of his hitouts are just like, how does he do that? And he's got probably the best midfield in the AFL around him. On paper, maybe Brisbane's would be the best playing, but there's got all those names around him just to tap it down. And if he puts it in the best spot possible, then midfielders are going to win it 99% of the time, and it just makes him look even better as well.
Yeah, exactly.
With Lachie Neale there, I think easy. He's the
obviously. Yeah. I think he's first player in everyone's team.
Definitely.
Exactly. So I think the Rovers more over to the McRae. He's still in Jacko's side.
I was a bit surprised that you two wanted him on the wing. I'd love him to have him right in the guts winning the ball out for me.
Fair enough.
You guys do
you? You do you, Jacko. Jack Steele again for VK in the Rover position, although me and Jacko have him in the midfield at centre. And Petrarca, for me, I think he's had a massive year. Fry's lad, of course. And, I think everyone else had him in their forward line or in the midfield. So
VK up forward.
There you go. So, onto the interchange, I believe.
So, very big All-Australian teams. And now interchange has got a lot of differing players. I guess the main unique player in VK's side compared to everything else here is Adam Sard. As I said, we wouldn't be seeing another Western player. I was wrong. Adam Sard has made an appearance. VK, you want to talk us through him?
I think he's one of the most underappreciated players in the AFL. I think last year I'm not sure if he made the squad last year. I think he definitely deserved it. Maybe not the team last year, but I think he's been even better this year in a good Essendon backline, like I've been saying. Just the thing with Sard is people know him for his attacking work from the half back line, but when he goes one-on-one defending, he is so good at defending as well. And I think that's just a part of his game that people don't appreciate enough from Sard. So he slots in there for me.
I think another big miss for you, VK, is Clayton Oliver.
No Clayton Oliver and no Patrick Dangerfield.
It's
your
hard
team?
with the bench spots. There's going to be people that are going to be they're going to like just miss out. But
It wasn't even near misses either. Neither Dangerfield
yeah,
or
okay. Well, near miss has got to put a couple of different players in there. So yeah, you can't just do the obvious ones all the time. But yeah, I think Menegola's had a better year than Dangerfield this year in a very
Who's
good Geelong side.
Do you have a backup ruckman in your side, VK, or you just
No,
go
no,
with
no.
Nick Nat all
Charlie
day?
Dixon. Charlie Dixon
Nah,
pinch.
yeah, Big Dicko pitches in with a couple of taps.
Tomahawk.
Yeah, Tomahawks. Yeah, we're covered. Don't worry.
Might be an ambitious call right here, but I reckon Tom Hawkins is one of the best ruckmen in a forward line situation.
Yeah.
Because the way
Yeah,
you just
I thought if you didn't end that sentence with forward line situations, I was about
One
to
of the best
say Jesus.
ruckmen.
no, he can't get off the ground, but the way he just bullies any ruckman really
Yeah.
off the ball,
Yeah.
just have a quick snap out is really crucial.
He's a strong lad. He's very strong.
100%.
And I think he wins a lot of contests.
That's we
Definitely.
can move on to our coach.
The coaches, VK's
Yeah.
coaches.
So
So,
we've got the
here we
coaches
go.
now. I think these three for me were the only ones I was really thinking of. Fagan as well, obviously. So Jacko, you've gone with Scott, who's, like I said last week, very, very consistent coach. Not always the best in the finals in terms of winning the grand finals, but in terms of the home away season. Why have you picked him over the other candidates?
I sort of probably just because I was more surprised of how well Geelong have gone this year. Of course, I didn't have them making top 8 this year, and even throughout the year, I said, "No, they're no good. They'll win their games, they'll finish, bottom of the 8, get knocked out first round." But the way that Scott's been able to make that forward line work with Gary Rowan, who's now reinvented himself as a player who isn't a complete wanker anymore. Used to hate him because he did not contribute anything when playing at Sydney, and always thought he was a bit of a scumbag. But the way he's got Hawkins, Rowan working well with each other, Radical is probably the only one in that forward line who hasn't really been firing. Considering that, Reece Stanley's gone down there, kicked a couple of goals, Narkle's doing well down there, Myers. Just quite a really strong forward line that I'm quite impressed with what Scott's done.
I think his coaching performance against Port Adelaide as well, I think, went underrated. I think he really shut down Port Adelaide's midfield, and his Geelong's defence is one of the most underrated in the AFL, I reckon, personally. Tom Stewart, Blitzarves, Harry Taylor, they're all big players.
Not about Harry Taylor, but yeah, the other two are definitely elite players.
I think Harry Taylor is probably not elite, but he's definitely not.
He would do a job.
Not rated. Yeah, exactly.
He'd definitely do a job.
I mean, I wouldn't want him at my club. Let's just say that.
Really?
No.
Did you
Jesus, that's a
did you
big
see
call.
Taylor when he dyed his hair a bit blonde for one game? Anyone see that?
Yeah, I did see that.
He looked like an absolute idiot. I thought he was a different player.
Yeah.
I still reckon he'd do a job.
I think Harry Taylor's been finished for the last couple of years. And I would not want him in my Brisbane side at all.
It's fair enough. Matho, speaking of Port Adelaide, why have you gone for your coach?
Well, top of the ladder. Only lost 2 or 3 games this year. I think that just speaks for itself, really. I did have Chris Scott there, but for a bit of a point of difference, so that we didn't have matching up coaches, we've gone big Kenny boy.
Fair enough.
With the added pressure as well from what's his name?
Gosh.
Mr. Sunrise,
Yeah.
Koshy.
Mr. Sunrise, yeah.
From the added pressure from Koshy saying that if I don't make finals or do well
they don't make finals, then he loses his job. It's in his contract.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and I meant to say Adelaide at the start of the year for bottom of the ladder, not Port Adelaide.
Yeah, we edited that. We edited Port in there to make it look like
did.
Exactly.
Great prediction. Adelaide being last, great prediction.
Exactly.
Definitely. So Ratton, boys, I think we can all agree that he's had a very, very impressive season with St Kilda. I think Port were around the finals mark last year, just outside it, and Geelong obviously a good side. But St Kilda were absolutely dreadful last year and turned into a good side this year. They've beaten a couple of good teams. I said that they would be in this mark that they are right now in my predictions, and it's paid off very nice. I think what Ratton's doing down at the club's looking very good with a very young side as well. I think they're going to continue to improve, a bit like Brisbane. Just continue to improve with their young playing group.
I
For
think
sure.
the best part about him was, he's his scouting and, the players he brought in.
Yeah.
When they say, when they brought in, none of the players except for probably Brad Hill were, known like good players. You think
Paddy Ryder,
Paddy Ryder is not a good player anymore. He's not.
superstar.
He's not.
Superstar.
They bring in Paddy Ryder, bring in Brad Hill, bring in Dan Butler, who couldn't get a game in Richmond. Dougal Howard.
But in saying that, at Richmond, he was consistent for their VFL side.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a VFL side.
But hear me out.
Dyson Nipple's brother's been our captain of the VFL side for 3 years. He's been pretty consistent.
Hear me out though. Hear me out. It's hard to break into Richmond's small forwards. You got Dustin Martin to compete with, Dan Rioli. It's a hard side to break into, and I think he definitely was an underrated forward. He's now kicked more goals than all three of Richmond's small forwards combined.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's how good Brent Ratton is to identify that he's a good young player, and then bring him over.
So I think Richmond have been the ones that stuffed up there.
Yeah,
Not playing him.
Yeah,
But he suits in the St Kilda side more. It's like with Jones. He just suits in their midfield more than he did at Sydney. So I think it's just being able to coach them and put them into the right system, the right players into the right system, which is what Ratton's done so well.
Yeah. I think Zach Jones probably been one of the most unnoticed players in the competition. I reckon he'll end up finishing top 3 in their best and fairest. His run and just the strength he has is really good player for him.
Definitely.
That's our all Australian teams, guys. Now we can move on to our top 10 young teams or who will improve in the future.
So
systems.
Just quickly as well, I think VK's comment, right? Hear me out here. Essendon would be there if we had more young players, but we barely have any.
There's no proof of me saying that.
This is a confirmed quote.
This is speculation only. This is speculation only. I'm not going to my phone right now to delete it.
Confirmed speculation. Ambitious call from VK,
It's true, though. I'm not lying.
If Western had more young players, they would be in the top 5 young players.
There you go.
You can say it for any club, really, but
I'm not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think just as well. I think Sydney are a near miss as well. They're young lads have stood up. But they're very, very similar list. The only difference here is VK has St Kilda instead of Carlton compared to what Jacko and myself have.
Mm-hmm. We can go through every team really, and say all the young players. Start with Brisbane, and I think it's no surprise that we've got the best young team in the competition. They were ranked first last year in the champion data for the players under the age of 22. When you look through the team, you got players like Hugh McCluggage, Jared Berry, Eric Hipwood, Cam Rayner, Zach Bailey, all going to be superstars in the next 5 years to come. And, it's no surprise why that everyone of us have got them at the top. And then VK and Matho with Gold Coast above where I have them. But I think it's, fair enough. You two want to talk about Gold Coast and why?
I reckon they just have so many good young players.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't have the quality the same as Brisbane. The list is like Rao, Anderson, Lukosius, that's how you say his name, isn't it? Ainsworth's been good this year.
Yep.
King, Rankin is obviously he's overrated, but he's still a good player. He's still a good player in the youth system. Yeah, King. I think they've got a great youth, and they're going to be very good in the upcoming years.
I think, and not that one player changes one whole youth system, but Matt Rao, I think, from the games that we saw him play, I think he warrants at least 2 players from an average youth system.
Definitely makes sense. I think that's why I guess I got my Port Adelaide so high compared to you two, just because of the quality that those young players bring. Sam Powell-Pepper, Dan Houston, Connor Rosie, Zach Butters, Xavier Dersma, all players who are very good currently. Probably Xavier Dersma is the one in there who isn't pulling his weight right now. Of course, got dropped from Port Adelaide last week. But, Connor Rosie's a superstar. Dan Houston's a good player. Sam Powell-Pepper, even though he's a wanker, still a good player. Zach Butters as well, probably been their most improved player this year.
Definitely.
Yeah,
He's been great.
He's been huge.
He now is. So, yeah,
Definitely.
that's really why I got them higher than, Bulldogs, Suns and Carlton. I guess we go through the Bulldogs team, lads. A lot of young players in that one. We've all got them
Yeah.
in the middle.
Bailey Smith, Aaron Norton. Who else? You've probably got the list there, Jacko. You bet.
No, I got,
Lipinski's in the team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Lipinski,
Lipinski's coming
Tim
good.
English, Bailey Smith, Vandermeer,
Yeah,
Williams. All really
How
good.
old's Dunkley?
He's 23, so he doesn't qualify for our top,
Yeah.
our youth system teams.
It's stiff when they're 23. That's why Carlton's not on my list, Matho, because a lot of your a lot of your good young players are in that 23 to 26-year-old mark. And
Yeah.
if a couple of them were 2-3 years younger or 1 year younger, then they'd definitely be in my team. Maybe even over St Kilda and Port, but at the moment, they're just a bit too old, which is good for you guys because they're going to be better players who are a little bit older.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, not for me in the youth systems.
So I guess going on to that, we'll talk about Carlton. This is the last team we haven't talked about. I guess Matho probably the best person to speak about the Carlton youth players.
I think Sam Walsh starts it off pretty comfortably. Definitely one of the better players in the AFL. Sorry, I'm just trying to get up some of the players. But Sam Walsh, Lockie O'Brien, not that he's been consistent in the side this season.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider him a good young player. Yeah, but you got Jacob Wiedering in there.
Exactly. Jacob
Petreski
Wiedering.
Seaton as well.
Petreski Seaton, Bull Setterfield, Zach
I think
Fisher.
Petreski Seaton is probably one of the most underrated.
He's a good player.
Not Petreski Seaton, Wiedering, sorry.
Wiedering, yeah.
He's arguably All-Australian contention if he can keep up the form. He's contested marks, kicking efficiency and all of that. I think he's definitely a player that everyone should watch a little bit more. Tom de Koning as well, not that he's been amazing for him. Who else have we got? Brody Kemp, I think he hasn't played a game yet, so that's hard to talk about.
Yeah, pretty difficult.
Mackay has been good. Harry Mackay.
Yeah, I like
Harry
him.
Mackay,
I
Zach
do
Fisher.
like him.
Who else have we got?
Not too much more.
Yeah,
That's
not too
still
much
a
more.
very good bunch of
Yes,
players.
yeah, still a lot of good bunch of players in there. Of course,
Definitely.
Walsh will be,
Yeah, exactly.
maybe even a future
Superstar.
Brownlow medalist.
Yep.
And like VK said, it is just the age bracket of our under 22 youth system is what we had the ranking as. So there's a fair few players that are 23, 24 that don't
Just
quite
missing out.
make it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
What about St Kilda, VK?
I think Saints have a great youth system. Obviously, that's why they're fifth. They got King, Hunter Clark, who's been great this year. Caulfield, who impresses me every time I watch St Kilda. I'd love him at Essendon. I like how he plays. And Josh Battle as well, who just some standout players there that are all under 22 or 22 and under that look great for St Kilda and are going to continue their form. They've got a great bunch of good veterans or a few good veterans, good 25 to 30-year-olds, and then some good youth as well. I think they're going to be great for a long time, especially if they keep Ratton under a good coach and a good system. I think they're going to be very big for them in the future.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
fair enough. No, I think I had St Kilda probably the 8th or so, because I went through every club and went to their age bracket, everyone under the age of 22, and sort of just said, yep, he's good, he's not, yep.
Yeah.
So the way I did it, to try and get a most accurate view.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's the end of the JLJ podcast for this week. It was a really good episode. I think both would be very happy with how this one's turned out. Make sure you tune in next week. If you guys have any differing players that you think probably should have made our All-Australian teams or in your All-Australian teams, comment down below. Same with our youth teams. If you think, your club's got better youth than one of these 5 on the screen, then comment down below. But, we'll see you next time, guys. Cheers.
See you guys.
See you later.